One of the biggest living nightmares in life is to lose control of what comes out of your anus in a public place. Wrestling is one such sport where anything is possible, including certain superstars relieving themselves sometimes in the middle of the ring. So sit back, relax, maybe slap on a gas mask, and let's enjoy these wrestlers that actually pooped themselves in the ring and could not really abandon their live performance, putting them in a bad predicament. Yokozuna's poop stories are legendary, and Bret Hart seems to be the one that possesses a lot of knowledge in this regard. There was once a time when the two were wrestling in India, and the Samoan wrestler was suffering from a case of horrible diarrhea. The two were in the middle of the ring, and just as Hart was about to be hit by the banzai drop, he looked up and was horrified to see a huge poop stain on Yokozuna's trunks that resembled a huge bowl of pea soup. According to Hart, that was the quickest he has ever moved in his entire wrestling career. However, the Indian ring was not so lucky, since Yokozuna forever left a large stamp of approval on the corner of the ring. What's funny is that Tommy Dreamer didn't even realize his worst screw up in the ring when he did it. Competing against Mark Henry, Dreamer mentioned he smelled something and thought that Henry let it go when he took the world's strongest slam from the 400-pound Olympian. Dreamer did not discover his mishap until afterwards when he took a shower. He even went to the doctor to confirm that the feces was his, as he could not believe what happened. The doctor told Dreamer that the force from Henry's slam knocked it out of him.
And you like to entertain the people by doing disgusting things.
Mark Henry literally slammed the crap out of Tommy Dreamer. In a shoot interview, the late wrestling legend Bam Bam Bigelow revealed that Andre the Giant pooped himself in the ring while wrestling a 6-man tag team match during a tour of Mexico in 1992. Andre drank a mixture of Clamato and Mezcal tequila all day long, and as appealing as that may sound, it probably wasn't the best pre-workout drink to have. So the story as per Bigelow goes that Andre gets in the ring and tries to execute one of his moves on his opponent, Bad News Allen. At some point in the match, Bad News takes a bump for Andre. Andre goes to grab the ropes to do a sitting spot from the corner, and just as he's about to sit on top of Bad News, well, let's just hear Bigelow explain it to the rest of us.
He sits on top of Bad News, Alan Coas. He shits. Diarrhea. Tequila, Clamato juice, Hershey squirts running down his neck, and now Alan's like this. Get the fuck off of me! And his smell was so bad, I was like, ooh.
Bigelow also added to the story that every time Andre went to get up, he sharted even more, calling the incident the nastiest, funniest thing you never wanted to see. As we have come to find out, Vince McMahon may have turned out to be not a very good person after all, you get me? And you might even be tired of hearing about him by now. If so, have some fun at his expense learning about the time he tried to fart in somebody's face as a joke and instead pooped his pants.
Who the hell do you think you are?
According to Jim Ross, at the height of the evil Mr. McMahon character's run during the Attitude Era, while waiting on his music to hit for his entrance, McMahon positioned himself right in front of Gerald Briscoe, intending to fart right in his face. Instead, McMahon soiled himself just enough for it to sweep through his otherwise impeccable khaki pants. While the prank on Briscoe accomplished what McMahon had intended, the former WWE chairman had no choice but to head down the ramp with a clearly identifiable skid mark. You get me? He was walking down the ramp like a rabbit, you see? The production crew was made aware of Vince's poopy problem. However, Ross explained that nobody had the guts to show it on television, and the incident never became, and I quote, the shard heard around the world. You get me?
Life sucks, and then you die.
Nevertheless, Ross said that he and Jerry the King Lawler, and surely others, got a good few chuckles out of witnessing McMahon with the brown stain on his pants. On a flight home from Japan, Kurt took his seat next to Yoko and casually offered him a chunk of his chocolate bar. Perhaps not surprisingly, Yoko always had a sweet tooth and pestered Kurt for more and more chocolates. Little did Yoko know Kurt was feeding him chocolate laxatives. 3/4 of the way through the flight, Yoko practically offset the balance of the plane when he leapt up and frantically pleaded for emergency assistance from the petite Japanese flight attendants. Yoko unfortunately was well over 600 pounds at this time and couldn't get into the little airplane toilet. So much to the horror of the travelers in coach class, Yoko was escorted to the back of the plane where newspaper was placed on the floor, and these brave, courageous flight attendants held up blankets to block the scene from the view of the passengers. It was the kind of turbulence they had never seen the likes of before.
Now, y'all, let's talk about a time when big old 600-pound YOKOZUNA did enough damage on a slam to Stone Cold Steve Austin that the Texas Rattlesnake made a mess in his own pants. According to Austin, due to some dietary changes from international travel in combination with being slammed by YOKOZUNA, something went deep south, and I do not mean Texas. Once Stone Cold realized that he had baked some brownies in his drawers, he told YOKOZUNA, "Let's go home." And that was that, because Stone Cold said so. Austin took that pen and hightailed right out of there, straight to the back, where he said that he took one hell of a shower.
During the infamous Colt Cabana podcast where CM Punk mostly talked about his experience working with the WWE, one such incident he mentioned during this podcast that happened on an episode of SmackDown. He admitted to being forced to compete while having a staph infection, while being loaded up on Z-Packs from the WWE doctors. Z-Packs are antibiotics that were treatment for that staph infection. Punk mentioned the reason was simply that it's what Z-Packs do. They make you poop.
Doc's like, "Oh, you're sick, here's a Z-Pack." They Z-Pack me to death. So much that in December I shit my pants on a SmackDown.
He just happened to be in the ring, and it happened right around the time when he was on live television. Even the best and greatest can end in embarrassing situations, and the 16-time world champion is no exception. John Cena revealed he pooped his pants during a match against Scott Steiner during a live event. Cena that night had food poisoning, and throughout the match could not control his bowel movements.
I pooped myself once.
John.
No, really. It was
No
in Saskatoon,
way.
Saskatchewan. I had food poisoning, and I still went out to wrestle.
Things got to a point where Cena could barely hold on and had to roll out and go under the ring so he could attempt to puke. But as he puked, it forced out a simultaneous shit from the other end.
We started this list with YOKOZUNA, and it's only right if we end this list with YOKOZUNA once again. According to Bret Hart, one of the most funniest moments in his career was when he was with The Undertaker backstage at an event that took place in Washington. Both wrestlers heard a loud fireworks like bang, which was followed by the sound of rushing water, and when Bret Hart and The Undertaker peeked around the corner, they saw Yokozuna crying, covered in his own poop, and they also saw the destroyed remnants of a porcelain toilet, which caused a cut on Yoko's leg, and the big guy was begging for help from his friends. The Undertaker especially couldn't help himself and kept having to hide a moment behind the wall to laugh, only to pop up again looking all concerned. Neither man wanted to get anywhere near Yokozuna due to all the poop. Although this video was all about wrestlers that soiled themselves in the ring on live events. However, we have rarely if ever seen a real actual turd fall on the mat in the middle of an ongoing match. The only time I've ever seen anything like it happened in the UFC. Not exactly wrestling, but they all belong to the same genre of contact sports. So without further any delay, our honorable mention goes to the Brown Bomber, Travis Wolford of UFC, where this guy literally laid waste in the middle of the octagon for the world to see. I think a man's gotta do what a man must do. Put food on the table and roof over your family's head. And if it takes to poop in the middle of the ring to get that done, then so be it. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to see more wrestling content like this, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Comment down below if you think I've missed a wrestler that might have pooped his pants.